Hello and welcome to a new video. This one is lemon potatoes, one of my favorite hearty, warm side dishes that will just end up going with any main dish that you can think of, especially Greek ones, obviously. I cannot wait to show you this. This batch turned out so good. Here I'm just getting, got a little sort of container that lives in the freezer with all the veggie offcuts and garden offcuts and things from cooking. And it's just a really nice way to recycle things. And, you know, whenever I need cooking a dish with stock like this, I'll basically just get that out and chuck it on the stove. And then at the very start of the cook, and then you can use the stock when you need it towards the end of the dish. So, exciting little addition to this video is the harvesting content. Look at that, potatoes coming, little golden jewels to be found underneath the garden bed. Goodness gracious, so satisfying to cook with food that you've grown yourself. It's even more satisfying when you use those ingredients on the same day that you harvest them. There's a sort of perceived, real freshness that you get from that, and extreme satisfaction. So I've just sort of brushed off these potatoes. I know there's no herbicides, pesticides, any of that sort of stuff mixed in with these, so I'm pretty happy to give them a good scrub with a scourer and eat them as is. It saves a fair bit of time peeling. Cut them into wedges and basically putting them into their baking dishes where we're going to combine the other ingredients. So this ended up being a larger than expected harvest of potatoes. Going to be a huge batch of lemon potatoes, which they still go within a few days anyway. They're just so delicious, and they seem to get better over the next few days as well. Lemons is, believe it or not, an important ingredient inside lemon potatoes, and I've basically, I don't know if you can see there, I halved about 8 lemons for this and squeezed and worked out all the pulp. So it's an extreme amount of lemons, and to be fair, these ones did turn out pretty lemony. I probably could have gone 6 to be honest, but and there the garlic goes absolutely bonkers, and the slow motion replay, I thought you'd appreciate that. A lot of different recipes online don't sort of quote garlic as an ingredient, but I just feel like, this cuisine, it just calls for garlic. It just has to be in there, and I've done a few without, and most of them with, and it's definitely better with garlic. One thing that obviously you don't hold back on is the olive oil. When this goes in the oven and combines with the olive oil and the stock, and it all cooks down, and you've just got this lemony, garlicky olive oil at the bottom. So good. And look at that, continuing on the home produce involvement in this particular cook. So we're just harvesting some thyme here. Beautiful fresh thyme. The oregano and the thyme are not sort of in their prime at the moment, but they're still full of flavour and still very usable. Just going to nicely peel off that thyme and oregano and give it a nice chop and dice all together. And just going to basically pop that all the way through. Look at that. Give it a nice stir in to combine. And here comes our stock from earlier. It's cooked down nicely, and we've got a beautiful little veggie stock. Not going to use it all here as well, so be able to put some of that back in the freezer as well. Basically just going to strain that through, get that into our lemon potatoes. Beautiful. Give that a nice mix, get all that garlic and herbs and goodness and olive oil all through there. Salt, an extremely important ingredient. Pepper as well, but we didn't have any fresh peppercorns. I think on this day, or maybe I forgot to film myself, but I would definitely be putting a huge crack of black pepper in there. Into the oven on 180 or so. Beautiful. And so this was probably after about half an hour, I would say, give or take. Just going to take them out and have a little look. You want them to be a little bit more sort of sticky and reduced. You could still see that they're sliding. There's a fair bit of liquid still in there to cook off, and or to be steamed and absorbed into those potatoes. But it doesn't hurt to give it a good mix at halfway and a bit of a taste for seasoning, that sort of thing. And more salt required. They do take a lot of salt, these things, and that's sort of, I feel like, the most common error is not seasoning them enough. So I just like to taste them at that halftime point and get a bit of an idea of where the seasoning's at. So now we're probably up to about 50 minutes total cook time, and you can see that those are looking a little bit stickier in the bottom of the pan. They've cooked off a lot better, and olive oily, lemony. Oh, they tasted so good. You have to make this. And so I was taking these to a little event, but the rest will be going in the fridge and eaten with something tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you all have a lovely day. Cheers.